Hello, welcome to another episode of Daily Market Mastery with me, Christian Rauchenwald, on this sunny Monday afternoon. I hope you all had a great weekend and a great start into the new trading week. As always, before we jump into the markets and into my portfolio, let's get the usual disclaimer out of the way. Everything that I share in this live stream / video is my personal opinion and in no way financial or professional advice of any kind. You should always do your own research, consult certified professionals, draw your own conclusions, and make your own decisions. Besides that, all the tools that I'm using, so the broker, the charting software, the strategy I'm following, and so on, are all linked in the video description down below. And the one thing I always truly recommend, if you haven't done so in the past, is go and check out the Elliott Wave Principle. You can read this wonderful book for free when you use the link in the description down below, and you can use the same link to get yourself a physical copy. With all of that out of the way, we can jump right into our portfolio, or my portfolio, and I'll hide the message. Hi, Cherry, great to have you here. And as you can see, we have a slightly green start into the week. We obviously have to see how that continues. Our portfolio is unchanged. We still have our 600 GameStop shares, against which we have our 6 covered calls sold, and a few positions in other stocks as well that in comparison are relatively minor. If we jump into the markets, we can see that GameStop bounced a little bit here. The big question will be, is this now already the end of our wave C, so for this corrective move, or will we first retrace a little bit further? Only time will tell. So once the market opens and by the end of the week, we should have a clearer picture. If this is indeed the end of the correction already, then we should see a little bit further upward movement. Otherwise, it's also possible that we have some form of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get our wave 5 push down. So I'm still not fully ruling out that we will get to see the 78.6 retracement at $22.73. Also, once the market opens in 2.5 minutes, we're going to look into our current call options and see if rolling them is worth it or not, or if we will just wait for them to expire, ideally worthless, on the 28th of March. Before we write new call options. With that said, we can try and see if we can get the chart for Barnes & Noble Education Inc. loaded. I'm still in communication with the guys from Elliott Wave International in order to solve whatever technical issue is forcing me here to suffer. We can see, surprisingly, as before, that probably the chart loads here, but it doesn't load in the main window, which makes no sense whatsoever, but that's how it is right now. So if we zoom in here, we'll have to wait for this to update. Can have a sip of apple schorle in the meantime. Why it also doesn't update. It's quite baffling, to be honest, because we are nowhere close to the asset limit of 100 that Interactive Broker has. And yeah, some charts work, some don't. So it's really weird. Yeah. Let's give it a minute to see if we can get it to update. Yeah. On Interactive Broker, if we look, Barnes & Noble seems to be at 1032. The latest value that we have here on the chart was actually listed lower at 950. So it might be that we actually also don't have an updated chart here in this window. So it might be still the same issue. Let's close the chart. Let's go here. Let's remove the ticker, which we already tried in the past. Let's also clear all local data. And then let's add the chart back for BNet from Interactive Broker, and let's see if we can get some data here. So GameStop already updated, or at least the price is there, and BNet does not seem to update. We can see also that the tickers from Meta, for example, are not moving, or now they are. Okay, so yeah, let's give it a minute or two. In the meantime, in 15 seconds, the markets are opening, which means we can already open our strategy builder. We pick March 28 and the $37 strike price, where we would have to buy back our existing calls. And if we want to roll them, we would want to roll them out to April 17th and there potentially sell the same calls again. Unfortunately, from the looks of it, we still don't have any open interest or any bids, so nobody willing to sell right now the 37 calls, which means we don't get an accurate quote, which means we, are in a bit of a limbo. And on the other hand, for the April 17th, we can also see that there is currently, there is actually a price. So Markets are open, but again, so we could go based on the ask, but that doesn't help us, which is not in our favor. Going based on the bid, yeah, it doesn't work because we don't have a bid for the March 28, $37 strike price. There is a little bit of open interest, but it's obviously nothing compared to even prices or more psychologically more relevant prices like 35 or 40. And that's what's biting us a little bit in the ass with our attempt to potentially roll our existing calls. We're going to keep this open. In the meantime, let's check. There is still no chart. If we now try to open a new chart window on the daily chart, we actually, yeah, let's see. Do we get a chart here? I might also have to open but we would get a chart in Interactive Broker. If I go here and I say Barnes & Noble Education and I say, oh, that might actually be it, that while we are not over the 100, no, but we have the same list here. So the only thing that's different is we don't hold grab anymore. So what did we remove? We have BNet, GameStop, Greenwave. So we have 6 entries here. Yeah, so we don't have Faraday Futures anymore, although we still hold a few shares, but that's a different story. Or do we still have it here listed as well? No, we don't have it here listed. Okay, so let's actually move that a little bit. So BNet, GameStop, Greenwave, Immersion, Cause, Neo. So we don't have Novavax anymore. Delete. And however, FFIE, Faraday Futures, BNet. So, okay, now we have that here. Okay. And then we have our, there it's not loading either. So let's close this. Then we have our FANG stock. So Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Netflix. And then we have a few monitoring for NASDAQ and so on. And then we have the other monitoring area here, but this is more than what we have here. We have DGT, Intel. Intel is not on this chart here. We're going to end that as well, although maybe we stopped monitoring it because it went the way we didn't think it should. NVIDIA is in our list, SMCI, Frontline, so all of that is there. Nike and Lulu, so they are all here as well. So if we check the active tickers, we can see that we only are monitoring 69 tickers on Interactive Broker. So that should actually be within the limit of Interactive Broker before it starts throttling anything. So which is kind of weird, yeah. So yeah. So but if we open a chart here for BNet, so it should obviously charts, new chart. Yeah, it loads. Although it shows us the last data here. No, that's from today. So that's from today. So kind of weird. Oh, I probably looked at average 1030 instead of at last. Yeah, so weird. Yeah, so as I said, I'm working on it, but it will take probably a little bit longer to figure out what's causing the issue, and it will make the streams a little bit more annoying. Immersion seems to be finally on the way to complete the retracement that we're waiting for at 669 before we finally go further up. Hopefully we're right with the level here. We will see. Cause we're still clueless and waiting to see how this plays out, and if we then get a move up, our stop loss would need to be here. So if we break 381, then we'll just have to take the loss on this position. Neo should eventually show the upwards movement, but since I've called this one too early here, and potentially, no, at least here and here I called it too early. That would have been a prime turnaround candidate, but then here would have been the next nice candidate. Anyway, so we're just waiting to get confirmation that finally this correction is over and that we indeed have our wave 1, wave 2, and are getting our wave 3 for the bigger 5th wave here that we are waiting for. Jumping briefly into crypto, Bitcoin bounced at the 82,000 level that I pointed out already earlier. So our wave 3 technically now completed here, which means we are now, which is our wave 4, which means we're now in wave 5, and which gives us profit targets. We're also going to update a few things here real quick. So which now gives us profit targets that we're going to look at in a second. Here we need only the 38.2 retracement left up. And that one here we can delete since I added a new one, and that gives us profit targets in the area of 122,977, our minimum target, to 162,000, our maximum target. Now, where do you come from? You come from here. You are not relevant. I don't know what you're doing here. Yeah, so that's basically it for Bitcoin. Yeah, we'll have to monitor. Obviously, we're not fully out of the woods. We would like to break the level that we had here at 99,517, because if we break that level, we will have kind of confirmation that indeed this is our wave 4 point. Until that happens, we still would have theoretically the possibility that this is just part of the correction. Other cryptos, XYO, how are you doing? Let's check. Okay, still trading sideways a little bit. We didn't, as I mentioned, we didn't fully reach the minimum target for the second part of the corrective wave. So there's still room and the expectation that we go a little bit lower before we finish this correction. And then basically with that, finish our fourth wave and go further up. And XRP should move down and sideways for a little bit to finish the correction out of wave 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get a wave 5. And where probably this is wave A, B, C for wave B, and now we get wave C down. So I still expect that we reach 161 at least. And for us relevant, storage reach the target levels that we would expect for the second part, or for the second part of the correction. We got dangerously close to invalidating our pattern. Overall, from here on, we should theoretically go further up. If we break the 25.97 cents down here, then we would have to reevaluate our whole assumption. But overall, I believe we had a 5-wave impulse, followed by a 3-wave corrective move, followed by the next 5-wave diagonal in this case, and then followed by another corrective move down here, and should from here on go up. Right now, it actually is not a bad risk-reward ratio, because if you enter now, you could have your stop loss at 0.2597, and take profit would be anywhere up there. So you have insane risk-reward ratio. But yeah, I'm right now not moving any funds there, so just sharing it. Algorand will have to relabel, I guess. No, we don't have to relabel. Actually, should have finished the correction here at the 61.8 retracement, which is within the minimum target for basically wave 1, 2, 3. And then wave 4 has A, B, and C finished. So from here, there should be wave 5 developing and taking us higher. Yeah, maybe even towards the $1 range. We would have to, oh, we already have there. So no, actually minimum target at 62 cents, as we can see. Yeah, and what else we want to jump into? Do we get a frontline chart? Maybe, fingers crossed. Yes, we do. Here, just gonna have a sip, then we move on. Or then we continue. So here, as said, we have our wave 1, 2, 3, 4. We're currently basically playing out this third wave. And so for here, I made a shortly before the earnings and basically pointed out that based on the pattern, it should probably retrace down to 16, which it did. It went even a little bit further and hit the 50% retracement. But visually, we now have wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Currently a correction of this 5-wave move, and should then get that correction could already be over here, to be fair, and should now basically see more upward movement. If you would want to jump in right now, you would have to put your stop loss at 13.17, and your take profit could be at 35 roughly. That's the minimum target that we have. Yeah, so much about that. I guess for now we don't need this here anymore. So yeah, while we're not fully out of the wood, it visually looks like we have basically our retracement like this, or our correction like this. Could also be like that, doesn't matter that much. Yeah, so I think risk-reward ratio is not that bad to enter right now. Let's take a look at Intel, what's happening there. We haven't looked at it for some time, actually since this year happened. So we made some okay trades here, if I recall it correctly. No, that was already, so we're on a weekly chart. No, we didn't. We made okay trades here, and then this part here screwed us a little bit. Although we didn't have positions. So there was one, I think, $50 option or $80 option that went sour because we got it right, but had the expiration pick too short. What's the low that we had here? The low here was 1851, and here, did we go lower? 1870, no. Visually, this looks like it could be either A, B, C, although C might have finished here during the earnings high, or earnings were here. I don't remember. No, that earnings were here. We covered it this year. And or did we? I don't recall fully, yeah, but on the weekly chart, it looks like we have the possibility for this being a set ABC. So either it's just a corrective wave. So low was here, where we hit the 100% target as well. That could have one more push higher, and then we go further down. Or this is actually the end of all corrective patterns that lead us here. And this is going to be the next 1, 2, and then we get wave 3, 4, and 5. So for more upside. Although this is a weekly chart, so things take longer. And again, this is without labeling the bigger picture and so on. So take this with a grain of salt. But overall, there would be maybe potential. Unfortunately, we don't have any free funds to even consider playing anything like that. So we're just going to wait. NVIDIA has been retracing a little from the looks of it. So it looks like, although we hit our 100% or even 161% profit target, there is the potential that this is actually, that correction that appeared to be potentially over is actually not over, but that this might only be part of the correction. And that we're not just retracing this move here, but that we're retracing more. Unfortunately, we haven't labeled the bigger picture, so it's hard to say. And we don't hold a horse in that race, so I'm not going to do it today. SMCI, curious here, so further down, starts to look more and more like this is a corrective free wave move, as I pointed out, and that we're now about to get our wave C that should take us down below the $10 mark. I believe that the stock should trade around $5, but we'll see if that happens. And if it happens, it probably will take months to play out, so probably maybe even into early next year. Yeah, what else do we have on our list to look at today? Amazon, that's one where I called it partially right, but from the looks of it, so we fell a little bit short of our minimum target. So we reached 240 something, and the minimum target would have been at 251. However, now the retracement is already a little bit bigger. So there's still the option that we get another push up into our minimum target, but if we would have a position, we would have to look closer. Visually, I believe that if you want to figure it out, you have to label this area here, so from the low here to here, and see if it's already 5 completed waves or not, because I believe that on the weekly chart that we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that 5 minimum target would be a set here. But if this wave is already a complete 5 waves, then we're right now retracing this entire thing, in which case we would go down at least to 160, in my opinion. Yeah. That's pretty much already it for today. So I said we're waiting for GameStop another week or two to have either confirmation that the retracement is done, or that we will get to see the 78.6 level first. And we are keeping an eye on our options that now, because we switch between assets, reset. So we would want to buy back the $37 calls. Now there is finally a price, and instead go for April 17. Although there we probably would like to go for 40, so rolling them out as well, or 35. So if we do this, we would get potentially $42 or minus fees, $40 per option. So times 6, so $240. If we, however, roll to 35, we would get $70 per option, so almost twice as much. However, we would also potentially miss out on profit. Now, is it worth it doing that? Because we would with that roll out too. So we buy back March 28, $37 calls, and we sell April 17th. And April 17th would be an expiration here roughly, and instead of 37 we would have 35 as our strike price, which means GameStop would need to stay below that. If it goes higher, we actually start to miss out, in this case on what's it like, $2 times 100 shares, so 200. So $1,200 that we would miss out on profit potential if we roll them right now. On the other hand, we would get a set, so obviously I'm bad at math, so 70 times 6, so $420 right now, which is not enough to open a new position in anything we want to. So our net loss, if GameStop rallies above 35 by then, would be limited to $800, or not net loss, but what we would be missing out on. On the other hand, if we don't roll and we just wait, then we might miss out on more. So, and yeah, like really hard to say what's the best play here. If we go lower, so we need some upside movement to increase the implied volatility, or we need some volatility to increase the premiums. And I think we'll wait, because if we already hit the bottom, there should be stronger movements, which will still, our options are decaying faster because they are closer to expiration. And if prices move up, then we actually get way more in premium. So we're not going to just fall for the low fruit here, but we either wait for them to expire so we can sell options for the full amounts, or for at least upwards momentum, higher volatility, to pocket more premiums once we roll or close out those options. Yeah. Anyway, that said, that's it for today. As always, I hope you were able to take something away from today's streams. Or today's stream. Don't forget, if you want me to look into specific stocks, assets, and so on, feel free to join tomorrow's episode of Daily Market Mastery, and then just ask in the chat. If I have the time, I'll happily do it. And yeah, with that, thanks for stopping by and watching. See you all tomorrow with another episode of Daily Market Mastery. Till then, bye-bye.